A song, it's strange, isn't it? How a melody can sneak past all the walls you've built, cut deeper than any words, pull out truths you didn't even know were hiding. This one isn't random. No, it isn't noise. It's carved for you. Wrapped in mystery, delivered like a whisper you weren't supposed to ignore. There's something in it, something sharp, something tender, something that knows exactly where to land. And the clock makes it cruel. Midnight isn't just a time, it's a warning. A reminder that chances don't wait forever, that messages don't linger in the air. You hear it now, or you lose it. Funny how people underestimate music, isn't it? They treat it like background noise, something to fill the silence while they scroll, while they run, while they drown themselves in distractions. But music isn't noise. It's a scalpel. It slices through your defenses, digs into places words can't touch, drags out feelings you swore you buried. Words. They can be ignored. You can shut your ears to advice. You can mock speeches. You can pretend lessons don't apply to you. But a song seeps in without permission. It bypasses logic, skips the filter, and goes straight for the soul. That's why it haunts you long after it stops playing. That's why a single lyric can break you when 1,000 lectures never could. You've felt it before, haven't you? That moment when a line in a song feels like it was written with your name on it, like someone climbed into your head, stole your thoughts, and turned them into a melody. That isn't coincidence. That's the hidden power of music. It's universal and personal at the same time. It's the one language that doesn't need translation. It doesn't care about where you're from, what you've done, how tough you pretend to be. It cracks you open anyway. A melody hums, and suddenly, you're remembering things you thought were gone. People you swore you forgot, wounds you promised were healed. The song doesn't care about your promises. It digs. See, songs don't argue with you the way words do. When someone tells you you're strong, you doubt it. When someone says you'll make it, you roll your eyes. When they try to convince you with speeches, you shrug it off. But when a note, a chord, a lyric hits that nerve, you don't get to argue. You just feel it. It grabs you by the throat and forces you to feel. That's the danger of music. It tells the truth without asking your permission. And it's the beauty too. And here's the irony. People spend their lives building walls around their pain. They armor themselves with sarcasm, with pride, with laughter that doesn't sound real. They hide. But the second a song slips through, all that armor crumbles. A 3-minute melody can do more damage, or more healing, than years of pretending, and you can't stop it. You can't block it. Because deep down, you don't want to. You want something to reach you where nothing else has. You want something to prove you're still alive inside. That's why songs matter. That's why this one matters. Because it isn't just music. It's a messenger. It carries something words couldn't carry. Something logic couldn't convince you of. Something silence couldn't explain. It's for you, whether you like it or not. It doesn't care if you're ready. It doesn't care if you think you're too broken, too far gone, too cold to feel anything. It plays anyway. And the second you let it in, it begins its work. Because music has always known the truth, that humans don't need more noise, more lectures, more commands. They need resonance. They need something that vibrates with their own pain, their own hope, their own story. And when the right song comes along, you don't just hear it, you recognize yourself in it. And that recognition, it can break you, or it can save you, sometimes both at once. So when a song carries a truth you can't ignore, don't laugh it off, don't call it coincidence. It isn't background noise. It's a mirror. It's a scalpel. It's a whisper from somewhere you can't explain, cutting straight to the place you've been trying to hide. That's the kind of truth words could never hold. But music carries with ease, and once it's in you, it never leaves. Isn't it strange how we're so quick to call things random? We stumble across a song, a phrase, a moment, and we brush it off like static on the radio. Just noise, just coincidence, just something that happened while we weren't paying attention. But deep down, you know better. Deep down, you felt that pull, that sting, that sense that it wasn't by accident. Some messages don't just float into your life for no reason. They crash in with precision, aimed like an arrow straight at your chest, disguised as something ordinary, but carrying something extraordinary. A song, for example. Out of millions, billions of sounds in the world, why did Ave, that one, find you? Why did those particular words crawl into your ears? Those chords wrap around your ribs. That melody keeps circling your head long after the music stopped. Random. No, too sharp. Too specific. It's almost like it knew you, like it recognized the ache in your bones, the questions in your head, the secrets you never said out loud. You didn't find the song. It found you. But here's where it gets funny. People don't like to believe in messages. They like patterns, statistics, control. They want to believe they're steering the ship, that everything is under their power. So when something personal shows up, they scramble to explain it away. Coincidence, they say. Nothing more. Because the idea that something is meant to reach you is too unsettling. The idea that you were seen, singled out, chosen for a message, that rattles them. But you can't shake it. Because deep down, you know the difference between noise and intention. You know when something is for you. And when it is, it doesn't let go. It lingers, claws at you, follows you in silence. The words replay in your head at night. The melody echoes when you're alone, and every time you try to brush it off, it comes back louder. That persistence is proof. Random things fade. Messages stay. They press on your ribs until you pay attention. The real trick, though, is whether you'll listen. Because a personal message demands a response. You can't just file it away with the rest of the noise. If it hit you, if it cut you, if it wouldn't leave you alone, then it was for you. And pretending it wasn't doesn't change that. It only delays the moment when you finally admit it. Think about how many times you've ignored those moments. How many times you felt something stir, a word, a sign, a whisper meant to reach you, and you shrugged it off. How many times you buried it under distractions, only for it to claw its way back again later. That's the thing about messages. They don't disappear. They wait. They circle. They strike when you least expect it. And every time you ignore them, the weight grows heavier, the truth grows sharper, until you can't run anymore. So maybe this isn't random. Maybe this isn't just a song, just a melody, just some passing moment. Maybe this was carved for you, tailored to your cracks, your scars, your story. And maybe that's why you can't stop thinking about it. Because when something is personal, it doesn't ask permission. It doesn't blend in. It sticks. It stalks you. It demands to be heard. Random. No, this wasn't random. This was aimed. This was a delivery straight to your soul, wrapped in notes, hidden in sound, waiting for you to stop pretending it was nothing. Because the truth is, you know it wasn't nothing. It was yours. And it always was. Funny thing about songs, they don't just play, they haunt. They seep in through your ears, coil around your veins, and refuse to leave. Everyone else might just hear a tune, a melody, a few nice words strung together. But you, oh, you felt it differently, didn't you? It slipped under your skin. It carried something heavier, something sharper, something that didn't belong to the crowd, but belonged to you. And you can lie to yourself. Tell yourself it was nothing, just music, but you know better. You know when a song becomes more than a song. It's like it was written for you, isn't it? Word for word, note for note. Echoing things you never said out loud, but thought in the quiet hours of the night. Isn't it eerie when lyrics mirror your own secrets? When every syllable feels stolen straight out of your chest? That's no accident. That's no coincidence. That's a mirror being shoved in your face, whether you like it or not. Because sometimes life doesn't talk to you in speeches or books. Sometimes it sings to you, whispers through melodies, and the message is disguised as art, so you don't run from it right away. But here's the part that really twists the knife. Most people ignore it. They hear their own reflection in the lyrics, and they look away. They drown it out, turn up the noise of their lives, pretend the words weren't for them. Because it's easier to live blind than admit something is calling you out. Easier to pretend the universe, fate, whatever you want to call it, isn't speaking directly to you. But ignoring it doesn't erase it. Ignoring it doesn't stop the echo. It just grows louder, sharper, waiting for the moment you're too tired to resist, and then it strikes. And it doesn't just strike once. Oh no. It keeps showing up. Different songs, different words, different nights, but the same truth, the same message, always circling back. Because when something is meant for you, it doesn't let go. It stalks you, hunts you, claws at you, until you finally turn around and face it. That's what makes it personal. That's what makes it undeniable. You don't get to escape it. Not really. And you wonder why it feels so heavy. Why your chest tightens when you hear those notes. Why tears form without your permission. Why your skin shivers like you're being watched. Because you are. That's what a message is. It means you've been seen. You've been marked. Something, someone, somewhere decided those words were yours. Out of everyone in the world, it landed on you. You can tell yourself it's random, but your body knows the truth. That's why it reacts. That's why you can't explain it away. But here's the trick: the song isn't just entertainment, it's an invitation. It's daring you to respond, to act, to stop playing dead while the world screams at you. That's why it came wrapped in music, because music is the one thing you can't guard against. You can shield yourself from advice, from warnings, from signs, but a melody slips through every wall, every defense, every excuse. It gets inside you before you even realize what it's doing. By the time you notice, it's too late. The message has already sunk in, and now it's yours. That's the weight pressing on you when you hear it again and again. That's the reason you can't shake it. Because once the message finds you, it brands you. It's yours to carry, whether you accept it or not. And the longer you resist, the heavier it gets. That's why it feels suffocating sometimes. That's why it burns. Because you weren't just hearing a song, you were being hunted by a truth that refuses to be ignored. So, tell me, are you still going to call it random? Are you still going to pretend it was nothing? Or are you finally going to admit it was meant for you all along? People mistake urgency for panic, as if the world yells, and the only sane thing to do is cover your ears. But a message that arrives at midnight with a melody strapped to, it is not screaming for noise. It's knocking for attention in the quietest way possible. When the world is loud, everything important hides. So when a song finds you in the dark, when it slips under the door and sits on your chest like a hand you can't shake, that is not trivial. That is not coincidence. That is the kind of thing that rearranges furniture inside your rib cage and forces you to notice corners you've been avoiding. There's a cunning to timing. You've been taught to expect flares, the bright signals that demand action. But real calls for change come wrapped in subtler packages. An ordinary tune, a lyric that nails your secret, a chord progression that feels like someone rewired your heartbeat. It's mean, almost elegant. Because it doesn't force you, it seduces you into listening. And people don't believe in being seduced by truth. They like it blunt, raw, spelled out in neon, so it can be ignored with the same certainty as anything else. But a song that waits until midnight knows you're softer then, less defended, more honest. That's the point. You think you're awake when you're scrolling through life in daylight. Busy, 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 checking boxes, performing like an actor who's memorized all the right lines. That daytime adrenaline is a costume. It keeps you moving, moving, moving until your muscles forget how to feel. But midnight forces an accounting. The lights go down, the applause dies, and the only audience left is the one inside your skull. That's when melodies become dangerous, because they don't flatter you. They tell you what you've been avoiding. They sing your omissions back at you in a tune so simple you can't argue with its clarity. And here's the delicious cruelty. The song doesn't beg. It doesn't plead or threaten. It arrives like a fact, like gravity. You don't have to interpret it to be affected by it. You can try. Oh, you'll try to rationalize. Rationalize until morning. But facts bend the same way, whether you like them or not. They press up against your chest and make your breath shallow. You can call it coincidence, fate, the universe playing tricks. But the truth sits there humming until you admit it. That admission is the pivot. That admission is the first dangerous footstep out of the shallow pool where everyone else is paddling. People fear things that make them act. That's why they cling to explanations that keep them sitting. I'm tired, they say. Not now. Maybe later. Those are polite little poisons that keep the machinery of avoidance lubricated. But a song at midnight doesn't negotiate. It is not interested in your excuses. It wants you to hear, and then to do something you've been pretending not to know how to do. It wants you to finally meet the part of yourself that's been whispering. Not because it enjoys cruelty, but because truth without action decays into regret. And regret is a slow rot that eats the good parts out of life. You'll tell yourself you're waiting for proof, for bigger signs, for something with more glory, because that's how you stay comfortable. Big signs require big performances, crowds, endorsements, witnesses. Small, private signals require bravery, because they don't come with an audience. They come in the dark, and they demand that you act when no one else will see. That's the test. Will you do it for the applause? Or will you do it because the song told you to and your soul is tired of lying about what it already knows? The latter is rarer, and rarity is why those choices echo longer than any viral moment. Midnight has rules it doesn't explain. It strips away bargaining chips. It forces you to choose. The song plays, and the clock reminds you that time is relentless. Opportunities are not eternal. Chances have expiration dates written in the small print of your life. When the melody fades and the hour turns, the moment either becomes a memory of courage or a fossil of regret. The universe doesn't gloat about this. It simply arranges things until you stand in front of the truth. If you ignore it, you don't get to blame timing. If you listen and do nothing, you don't get to blame fear. The responsibility sits square on your shoulders like a weight that will not stop nagging until you either act or become part of the silence you once despised. So when that song came for you before midnight, when it slipped through cracks and found the hollow where your excuses lived, you can either laugh and go back to sleep. You either laugh and go back to sleep, or you can stand up and answer. Either way, the night keeps moving, and the choice it hands you is the kind only the dark can offer. Act without witnesses, or wait and carry the knowledge that you let the melody go by, and with it the one chance that was crafted to turn your life from a rehearsal into a scene no one can forget. Would you rather be remembered for the step you finally took, or for the silence you chose when the music asked you to move, and you decided to stay in the chair, or pretending you hadn't heard the song that was written just for songs? Don't ask for permission to crawl inside you. They don't knock politely. They don't wait for you to tidy up your head before they step in. No, they barge through the cracks, past the defenses you've built. And before you realize it, they've rearranged something inside. That's why music scares people more than words ever could. Logic can be debated, argued, dismissed. A song, it doesn't give you the luxury of thinking first. It bypasses your brain and plunges straight into your chest, igniting something raw, something primal you can't defend against. That's why they say music speaks to the soul. It doesn't speak at all. It invades. You've probably felt it, a lyric that suddenly feels like it's staring right at you. A chord progression that drags out emotions you swore you buried. You didn't choose it, it chose you. And that's the real trick. Because when words alone fail, when speeches bounce off the armor you've built, a song slips underneath and dismantles you quietly, piece by piece. It's not a fair fight. It's not supposed to be. Music was never designed to negotiate. It was designed to make you feel. And feelings don't wait for logic to catch up. Isn't it strange, though? People will let themselves cry over a song, but never admit the truth behind those tears. They'll say, "Oh, it's just the melody, just nostalgia, just hormones." Lies, convenient lies, because deep down, they know the music didn't just stir random emotions. It touched the exact nerve they've been avoiding. That's why it feels so personal, so piercing, like the song was written about them. Because in a way, it was. Every person has their frequency, their resonance, the one sound that cracks them open. And when a song hits that pitch, you're not just listening anymore. You're unraveling. Think about it. Why do people replay certain tracks when they're broken? Why do they put the same song on repeat until the words blur? Because it's not background noise, it's medicine. It's confession. It's a mirror showing them the parts of themselves they've tried to bury. It's easier to let the song scream what their mouth refuses to say. Easier to let the melody carry the weight of their unspoken truths. And yet, that's where the danger lies too. Because a song isn't just therapy, it's instruction. It tells you what's wrong, what you've been hiding, and what you must do. Most people stop at the first part. They cry, they feel, they repeat, but they don't move. They forget that songs don't just reach the soul. They demand action. And that's the cruel beauty of it. Songs will remind you of who you are long before you're ready to face it. They'll drag your hidden dreams into the open. They'll expose the wounds you've been disguising with smiles. They don't wait for permission. They just tear down the curtains and force light into your shadows. That's why you feel lighter and heavier at the same time when you listen. Lighter because the truth is finally seen. Heavier because you know it won't let you stay the same. You see, words on their own rarely change people. They can inspire, sure, but they bounce. They glance off. Music, though, it lingers. It follows you into the silence after the song ends. You hear echoes of it in the shower, on the train, in the moments you least expect. That's not coincidence. That's persistence. That's the message refusing to let you go. And you can fight it, but you'll lose. Because once a song has marked you, once it's tied its melody to your truth, you carry it. You carry it until you obey it. And that's why songs reach the soul faster than logic. Logic waits to be invited. Music forces its way in. Logic needs your agreement. Music doesn't care. Logic can be delayed, postponed, filed away for later. Music demands the present. The moment it plays, it already owns you. And if it owns you, it changes you, whether you're willing or not. So the question isn't whether the song touched your soul. It did. The question is whether you'll admit that what it showed you was real. Whether you'll stop pretending it was just noise and accept that it was a mirror. Because songs don't lie. They don't flatter. They don't twist themselves to make you comfortable. They break you down until you finally see yourself naked, unfiltered, undeniable. And once you've